The National Informal Traders Alliance says their members will be negatively impacted by the proposed tobacco bill in its current form. This follows public hearings on the proposed tobacco bill, which, among other things, proposes a ban on the sale of single cigarettes and the public display of nicotine. Now, let's discuss this. We're now joined via Teams by Rosheda Muller, National Informal Traders Alliance of South Africa chairperson. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, this is one of those proposals that has seen divergent views, in the country, particularly in Gauteng. Just give us a sense of how the public hearings have been going so far, and do you think, or do you get a sense rather that contributions will make a difference, especially in the proposed bill's current form, especially when we're talking about banning the sale of single cigarettes?
Yes, thank you very much for having Nitasa on the airwaves today. Indeed, the public hearings were overwhelmingly attended by the informal traders. They had to stand for hours in queues to be allowed in to have their voices heard. But our Shwani Barakesi Informal Traders, who is an affiliate of Nitasa, was at those hearings and they had the Nitasa voice heard there. But they did indicate it was quite a challenge to get in. It is very clear that one needs to understand the impact, the adverse impact that the bill will have on the informal traders. We do acknowledge that selling cigarettes is a health hazard. We acknowledge that. But cigarettes is still a legal product that is being sold. And therefore, we as the informal traders are, we are saying there's no alternative. Unemployment is so rife. Poverty is so high. Many single mothers are selling these single cigarettes to survive, to send their children to school, for their daily bread and butter. So we are definitely objecting to those clauses, but we're also appealing, for government to come on board and understand that the need for employment is very, very urgent. I mean, they cannot get other employment. And if they take away the sale of cigarettes, they are really going to be on the poverty line.
I know you object, towards the single sale of cigarettes. Let's talk then about the e-cigarettes and get your views there. The electronic cigarettes have largely remained unregulated in the country. Will that also cause some problems, especially with the informal traders? I mean, the bill will introduce new regulations for electronic delivery systems. So what are your thoughts about the system and its effects? And will it in fact, affect informal traders?
Well, I don't think there will be a direct impact on the informal traders. Informal traders are mainly selling the single cigarettes and the packets of cigarettes, which, of course, with this bill, they are not able to display as well. So that is another, a great challenge for the traders. With regard to the e-cigarettes, it is not at the moment widely sold by the informal traders, but that is an alternate. Although, the impact on our sector is really not there. The most grave issue is if the bill is passed with a banning of the single cigarette, then the informal traders will be heavily affected. And that is our very big concern across the country.
I want to go back to the point that you raised in terms of health. Some have positioned the bill as a reflection of the government's intensified efforts to bolster public health measures, and also to curtail the prevalence of tobacco use and nicotine addiction, especially. What solutions, perhaps, can you bring on the table, particularly from a health front? Because we don't know at this point in time if this bill will actually be passed in its current form.
Yes, that's very, very important. And as I said, education is very, very important. It is very important that the schools, for example, and the Department of Education that takes upon themselves the responsibility to let young children already be getting that education so that they are aware the impact on their lives. And as I said earlier, NITASA does not promote selling of cigarettes. It's an income, it's a survivalist income for those who are currently selling the cigarettes. And personally, I don't smoke, but then my sons smoke. Although I try to educate them all the time about the adverse impact, it's a choice. And as adults, they must make the choice. We as traders need to be also very responsible when we sell, that we do not sell to school children and youngsters. And that is also what we have, to take responsibility for and engage with our members to ensure that they uphold that morale and ethics of not selling to children.
How concerned are you as an organization, that the ban of this single cigarettes might increase, in fact, illicit trade of cigarettes? I mean, we saw this happening during the heavy COVID-19 lockdowns.
Absolutely. And that is why, government needs to partner the informal sector, and government needs to work with us in collaboration so that we can get rid of the illicit cigarettes. It is still rife out there, but there is no policing. It is the job of SABC to police that. But we are willing as an organization and leaders within the informal sector across the 9 provinces that we assist government in identifying where it takes place. So collaboration is important from government side, and there has to be greater policing on that matter. But we as NITASA are definitely extending a hand to collaborate on illicit trade, which cannot be allowed. Our country is losing major revenue by allowing illicit cigarettes to be trading.